Hi, Greg. Nice to see you here.
Good to see you too, man.
How is what's your opinion about the conference so far? I mean, what do you think about the projects? People talking about different things.
I love to see so many faces here. With everything's happening in the world, countries, wars, um, people cracking down on free speech, governments cracking down. You start to think maybe there could be an alternative system to self-organize, um, different organizing principles. So I'm very happy that Balaji is putting together. I think it's the second time, right? He's putting together the Network State Conference. I've seen Vitalik here. I've seen Michael Turpin and a lot of people that I see at crypto events. Um, to see the enthusiasm for alternative ways to organize ourselves, I think it's great.
Awesome. And how do you see the network state movement evolving into something real on ground? And how do you see the process and the timing?
The process and the timing of network states. There's two kinds of movements I see. That's sort of two extremes. One is the charter cities. I'm involved with a lot of people in the charter city movement, and that's more grounded. I've seen charter people want to serve people on the ground, the locals. Okay, and then the network state is more about starting in the cloud or starting in this archipelago, but Balaji calls it, around. Think of it as like alumni of a university or whatever, and then getting recognition as this virtual space. So both face a lot of challenges from governments. As we speak, I think it was yesterday, Honduras announced that their special economic zone, the Zayde program, their Supreme Court has announced it's unconstitutional in their opinion. Close 5-4 decision. Still haven't explained what the ruling is. We'll see that in a few days. But it's a bit of a blow, obviously, to a community that's trying to create pockets of sovereignty. On the other hand, if you have network states, no one can tell you that you can't make free association, online, and there's no violence online. So that's another great thing. No one's going to kill each other online. Now the question becomes, would they accept the credentials of these network states, similarly to how they accept credentials of Liechtenstein or Luxembourg, these little micro countries? Because, if they say this person's been vetted, they have a passport, can they get a visa? And I've seen Vit from Liberland announced that I think it was Colombia, the country of Colombia, is now able to get their visa stamped, which is amazing because if you get into Colombia, you can get into 6 other countries in the South America. So if they've done it, that means they can issue passports, which are now accepted there. So I would say network state is a great way to get started because no one's blocking online. You can join online communities, and then I think that they have a great chance to try to get a presence on the ground. And I think the network state might even leapfrog the charter cities in that recognition by countries.
Very interesting. In my opinion, actually, network state. What sometimes I imagine the network state is like the humidity that you can always feel, but you cannot protect yourself from. If it is rain, you can protect yourself by umbrella. But if it's humidity, yeah, you cannot protect yourself from. So considering that, I mean, like that network state, nobody can, stop it because you don't do anything wrong, right? So they cannot come and say that you should shut down this online community or whatever. So how do you foresee individual engagement? I mean, what the actual individuals who want a new establishment, a new order, if we call it that way. I mean, how they should engage. I mean, what we need. I mean, for the individuals to get engaged, and maybe you can share a bit about your personal experience.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, by the way, some communities they won't like either. I mean, there's communities dedicated to violence uh, of all kinds, terrorist communities, and so on. So I'm sure they're going to be vigilant about. Look at the founder of Telegram. Got arrested in France about sharing child pornography, I suppose. So those communities they're a little concerned about. But see, what happened is communities want to be able to be free to connect. Individuals actually just go where the communities go. So, give you an example. I remember growing up, and this is going to date me, but America Online, CompuServe, right, Prodigy, all these like closed wall gardens. Okay, over in France, you had Minitel. People remember Minitel. All of these were disrupted by the web. What is the web? The web is an open protocol, HTTP, right? Tim Berners-Lee, just like Vitalik created, EVM. Tim Berners-Lee created this protocol. Anyone can run a web server. Anyone can run a web browser. So it became this open ecosystem. Now, what happened within a span of like 3 years almost, everyone exited America Online, keyword New York Times, and became NewYorkTimes.com website. So you can host what you want. America Online can't tell you anything. You're free. That's the kind of self-sovereignty and freedom that we already experienced in the 90s, 2000s. And it wasn't the end user, the person logging into AOL that said, let me go to the web and download a web browser. It was NewYorkTimes.com. They said, let's just host our site on a web on the web, right? Which was a new thing. So the community leaders are the ones making the decision to move to this platform, open platform, permissionless, and their members just follow them. If you want a subscription. By the way, all of the models, all the trillions of dollars that we spend on the internet now would not be possible if we lived in the walled gardens of AOL. So Facebook is a social network. AOL would not allow a social network within their own thing. Amazon is a store. AOL would just cannibalize it, right? If it was a keyword Amazon. So Google, search engine, right? All of these things got their start because the web was permissionless and allowed for innovation. So now, unfortunately, with Web 2.0, we're all in they're walled gardens of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, and yes, Pavel Durov. I like Pavel, right? I like Elon, and I probably like Zuckerberg. I don't know, never met him. But like the thing is, right, it's like it's their world and we live in it. So the paradigm people have is such learned helplessness of like, Elon, can you please add an edit button so I can edit my tweets, right? Well, if he doesn't, well, too bad then, right? No, right? Or like Pavel Durov, why is he being hauled into court in France, right? Because he controls the platform in some way, right? You don't see Tim Berners-Lee ever being arrested. You don't see Vitalik being arrested. You don't see Linus Torvalds with Linux being arrested because they don't control it. You could arrest Linus. It will do nothing to Linux. So my point, I think open source software is really, really important for communities. If it was good enough, I think communities would migrate to it the way that they did with the web. And then their members, the individuals, would also migrate. But the first movers, the decision makers are the community organizers like Balaji and everything. And there's so many. Every conference, every event, every network state is organized by someone. That's the idea. Well, we want to have open source software rather than a Discord chat or a Telegram chat. Because again, it's weird, right? All these people are into decentralization and saying Bitcoin is great because it's decentralized, no one controls it. And then they say, go on my Twitter space, we'll hang out on the Twitter space. Like, don't you see? Twitter is centralized and you guys are all in that world. So there's got to be something else. Anyway, that's my vision.
A very, very interesting actual intervention. Care actually a bit about what you have achieved so far. I mean, regarding this, what you told. I mean, about
Nothing.
this.
I achieved nothing. I'm just a random guy, happen to be here. Hey guys.
Because I know that you are working on this. I mean, like
Yeah.
on the topic that you're mentioning now. I mean, what are the challenges that you are facing? Just share a bit about. I mean, the work that you have been doing and how you imagine its success, the success metrics.
I imagined we would be way more successful by now. We only have a few million community leaders, and behind those community leaders, there's probably 50 to 100 million people. So that is 1% of the planet, but nobody knows about us. And maybe I like it that way. I like not having to fend off the paparazzi and get a high profile divorce, you know. But the reason we're not as successful as I think we would have been is because open source is not as sexy. These big platforms are not as sexy for the VCs and people because the vision is very big. Like if I said to you, hi, I'm Tim Berners-Lee and I invented HTTP and we're going to have trillions of dollars move off of AOL into like the open market, right? So a VC is like, that's cool, bro, but I'm going to invest in pets.com, right? Pets.com runs on top of this thing. So I think now that we have the platform, we can spin off all these dating sites, networking sites. We have about 12 different verticals. Rational.app, it's going to be for debates. No one has good debates online. Like the discourse sucks. It's all toxic. So we're going to do that and we're going to attract VCs to that. But I've built two platforms, one for Web 2 and one for Web 3. And the whole thing is supposed to be super clean up the space, healthy, But as a result, I have found it's not as sexy to invest in. You know what's sexy to invest in? Meme coins, NFTs, things that blow up quickly. But the problem that I've had with that, it's a zero-sum game. You run out of other people's money, they move on to something else, and the graph always looks like this, and then down, right? And you've seen that with almost like 99% of all the projects because they got sucked into the greed of let's make money at the expense of the investors around the world. I don't know them. They lost their money. Okay, not my problem, right? For me, just morally, it's never been felt right to take like a million people's money, even if it's $100 per person, and then go, okay, thanks, bye. I wanted to build something with massive utility like the web or Linux or Ethereum or Solana or whatever. So I'm trying to build software platforms, but only one in every 100 VCs gets it. And those are the people like Balaji invested in our project. Now we got, I think I can say this. We'll see. Another billionaire invested in our project. And I'm getting a family office that's connected to all this. They're all aligned. They all get it. Most people don't get it. And so I've lived this life where I know everybody, but they've invested in meme coins and other things that failed. They made money. And I'm here grinding for 10 years. And now I'm in a position that we can build this new world. I know exactly how it works. And we have just enough money with this new round, to open it to the public. And once we open it to the public and we have our crowd fund, I feel that then out of the millions of users we have, a lot of the people will simply get it, will use it. And that's when we have the revolution. So we have a bit of our own revolution. It's not network state, it's communities. But talk to me in a year, I think you guys will hear about it. And the revolution will not be televised, but it will be like decentralized.
Awesome. Definitely, I wish good luck, and we are looking forward to hearing more about it. Greg, the last question: what's your message to the people actually who, on both sides of the Atlantic and throughout the world, actually want to build network states, new countries, international communities, pop-up villages, charter cities? What's your message to them?
My message, I would say, is look at open source software. Don't get stuck in another walled garden built by someone else. Look, these people are great, but they can't be everything to everybody. I've seen Mark Zuckerberg hauled into Congress and excoriated for taking down some posts. But then I also saw him the next year excoriated for not taking down some posts. I mean, the problem is they're too big. Pavel Durov going to France being arrested is because they're too big to police these giant platforms. There's no reason for these platforms to be so big. If we have our small village, I know everybody. I know who's the child pornographer or who's the child trafficker, and we could take action. But if I have a city of millions of people, they might get lost in there. Never mind, there's bots, there's all this stuff. Our communities are toxic online. They're toxic online because the algorithm is designed to make money for the shareholders, whether they are privately owned like Twitter now or X, or whether they are publicly traded like Facebook or Meta, right? Or Google renamed themselves Alphabet. They like to rename themselves, but at the end of the day, they're for-profit companies, and so they must extract rents from the ecosystem. The ecosystem is us. It's we want to connect. We want to create events. We want to deliver value to each other. And they're like, okay, cool, but let's extract some value. Let's pay the shareholders. The problem with that is it becomes what Cory Doctorow calls enshittification. Enshittified. Look at Reddit. Look at all this stuff. The quality goes downhill. It's not because it's an accident that every single platform becomes more toxic. It is because every time a news outlet publishes a well-balanced article with both sides, it's boring. People like drama, controversy. So a one-sided article that says those guys are bad, we're good, right? It's like, yes, I forward that. Look what those guys did, right? If you added, look at what those guys did, and by the way, here's why they did it, and we kind of understand why they did it, it becomes less outrageous. So the algorithm deprioritizes that. The algorithm prioritizes the anger, the outrage, the sex, whatever, right? And so our society becomes that. It becomes that. And we're all wondering, why does my neighbor think I'm this crazy person? Why do I hate these people now? It's not you, it's your platforms. So if you want a healthy platform, you need something like Linux or like Wikipedia. Notice Wikipedia doesn't radicalize people into hating someone. You read Wikipedia, you see all sides. That's because when you have a community and you put out something, imagine concentric circles. The person who wrote it, then 10 other people, it could be experts, whatever, but the key is they have different viewpoints. So by the time it reaches the wider public, it's been polished like a stone from all sides. And so the public reads a Wikipedia article or a scientific peer-reviewed paper, they benefit from that. It's been digested. This idea that individuals have to make up their own mind on every single subject, vaccines, wars, this, that, in my opinion, it creates a society where individuals don't know 90% of the subjects. Mark Twain said we're idiots just on different subjects. We're all idiots. So it's, he was a great guy, Samuel Clemens. So the point is, I would like truth to be discovered by somebody posting, like investing in a bonding curve, one of these things. Then 10 other people find it, they argue, they fix it. I don't think individuals, celebrities, the celebrity culture is the correct culture. As a libertarian, I don't want to ban it. I want an alternative, and the alternative should be about the content, the substance, the claims, the peer review. It's not about scientist so-and-so published it. It's like, what did they publish? What is the claim? So anyway, my message to everybody is focus on substance, not people. Forget the celebrities, and focus on open source. Donald Trump, when he made Truth Social and he got kicked off of Twitter, his team, he paid a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They forked Mastodon. They took Mastodon, which was created in 2016. So it has to be open source. Otherwise, we're going to live in Elon's world. We're going to live in Mark Zuckerberg's world. And the toxicity will keep rising. So my message is open source and make it about the content, substance, not about the who wrote it or who said something. That would be my message to the people watching.
Thanks a lot, Greg. So I wish good luck and success, and hopefully we'll speak again.
Hopefully.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Thank